Hey, my name is Laura Snyder. I'm in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. I've been here a year and a half, and some pretty crazy things have happened since I've been here. Um, Human rights violations, civil rights violations, police corruption, housing rights violations. I think those are the main ones, but so moved here 2019, a couple days before my birthday, March 4th, and I'm a 49-year-old woman who appears from the outside to be, I guess, somewhat healthy. And until people meet me and until they talk to me or see how really I walk, which is I can no longer hold my head up on my own. I have something called radiation fibrosis syndrome. Sorry. I was also born with cleft lip, so I have problems speaking because I have a tied tongue and some other damage inside of my mouth. But and this is a new kitten, Gray. So she'll be joining us maybe during this. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma in 1994, stage 3B, and I had 6 months of chemotherapy, a type called ABVD. It's adriamycin, bleomycin, vincristine, and I forget the D. Lots of steroids, and then I had 16 weeks of mantle radiation. So for my chin, I still have little tattoos here, all the way down to my pelvis, or to my pelvis. 16 weeks of radiation. In 1994, they did no shielding, and that's why I have no more muscle tissue basically from here. And if you can kind of see my spine back here again. I'll send some photos too that I've taken of my full black back. Per my neurologist, who I went to get treatment for when the new migraine shot came out about 2 years ago. Was my dad's neurologist who had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, who I was taking care of. She saw the back of my neck. She was like, "Oh my God, it's always been this way." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I didn't know what she was referring to, but she told me I was not a candidate for Botox injections, not a candidate for the new migraine preventative, and that by me holding my head up, I was causing myself to get migraines, and recommended that I start immediately wearing a neck brace. And I'd read about this there's one guy that studies, it's called RFS, radiation fibrosis syndrome, Dr. Stubblefield from, I think, Connecticut on the East Coast. Plenty of articles online who will tell you exactly what radiation fibrosis syndrome is, and it's exactly what I have, and I've had every one of, plus then some of the long-term late effects of Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I'm now 27 years out. So after the radiation, 3 months later it came back, and I had a bone marrow transplant. So my immune system since 1995 has been fucked. Even though it was fucked, this was in Phoenix, Arizona, where all this happened. I came back from the bone marrow transplant, graduated from ASU, started working at the Arizona Republic, advanced, ended up being a traffic manager there, making great money. This was the Arizona Republic, owned by Gannett, and I was vested there. Great job, friends. I bought a $200,000 house downtown Phoenix in the historic district. Always been a smoker. Followed you guys before you were a station. So this is why I reached out to you. The incident that I want to tell you about happened on July 5th, and it is now August 16th, and nothing's been done about it. So, on July 5th, my friend Francis Vasquez Bravo, age 44, from Barceloneta, Aguadilla, who I'd known about 6 months. About 3 months of that, face-to-face in person. She has a 5 and 7-year-old son, Marco and Lucas, who I've hung out with. Puerto Rican. Kid's dad is in the army, stationed somewhere overseas, and apparently that's how Frances supports herself, because she does not work outside the home. But I thought she was a friend. We immediately started texting, started instant messaging, which I have all of those 6 months worth of all positive texts, love hearts, sending back and forth each other music, quotes. On July 5th, I was planned to move from Aguadilla, where there are no Ubers, no public transportation, I can't drive anymore. I plan to move to San Juan, where there are Ubers aplenty. I had found an apartment, a studio, beachfront. That's why I came here. Spend the last bit of my life near the water, preferably on the water, looking at the water. Peace, calm. I have a heart condition. I've already had one heart surgery in 2009. I had pericarditis. When they did a window to remove all the bacterial fluid around my heart. I have tachycardia. I have severe osteoporosis. I had fungal meningitis in 2002. I'm now 49, with the bones of an 80-plus-year-old per my oncologist. I can't hold my head up on my own without getting blinding migraines. And my cognitive ability definitely have something called chemo brain. And it is like, you hear the chickens maybe clucking in the background. It's early morning because I operate like an 80-year-old woman, and I'm in bed by 8 p.m. I've been a liberal since I was in high school. It has alienated me from my family, which are all Trump lovers. And I mean Trump lovers, like my mom has been the Tea Party for years. We no longer communicate. I am down here 100% alone. Disabled. But I get fairly good Social Security because it goes on your last 5 years of earnings. So thank God, right? I can support myself. It's been my saving grace. But since I've been here, I've had neighbors bully me. Straight out, when I tell them what's wrong with me, I had one young lady in her 30s, first thing out of her mouth, "Have you thought about euthanasia?" Another guy, my age, got mad at me over $20, texted me that I should kill myself. Go ahead, get it over with. Repetitively. Another neighbor, and I have the paper, 3 lined paper that says I should check myself into a mental institute, and I'm lazy, worthless. It's a woman who I'd given my 32-inch smart TV to, a bunch of other stuff, and she's accusing me of owing her money. The second place that I lived in, I had 2 college kids live above me. I smoke medical marijuana. I don't take pain pills. I'm in pain from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to sleep. And when I sleep. I had 2 college kids live above me in this apartment. When they moved out, they told the landlord that I smoked marijuana. So I had 2 college kids reporting an old sick lady for smoking marijuana. I'm in Puerto Rico. I'm like, where the fuck am I? I thought I moved to some liberal country where people surfed and hung out at the beach. No, that's not where I moved. At all. I moved somewhere where people judge you. It's survival of the fittest. You're not one of them. Fuck you. And I mean, fuck you. So, on July 5th, when Frances showed up at my apartment, she was mad. And the text leading up to it, she was okay. I told her I would give her $100. And I always pay for everything that people. I've never received a really free favor from anyone except one individual in this whole story. And, like a ride or a jug of water or anything. You have to pay for everything here. I mean, I get that. I told Frances I'd give her at least $100, meaning I'm going to get food, we'll stop and get gas, anything else, $100 for you in your pocket. At least, this is all documented. She shows up mad. And I'm thinking by now it was her sister that she was talking to that I'd met one time before, which I thought everything was fine. I don't know. Minimal meeting. Shows up mad. She brought some garbage bags because I was running out of things to put into, things into. And I asked her to put some pillows in them. She thinks I'm disrespecting her by asking her that. Gets mad at me and storms out of my apartment. Not to come back in the whole entire time things are being packed into her car. So I immediately call for the help that I'd scheduled. The one guy texted me back, actually in front of her. This must have happened before. Mixing that up. But he said, we were supposed to start at 11. He says, can we move it to 2? We're going to move my whole move for him. So the one guy canceled in front of her. The other guy I call shows up. It's actually now where I'm living at his mother's house. So this is interesting, what she accuses me of doing to him. I've known him from the neighborhood for about a year. He's 35. He had a brain infection when he was little. And he operates most days on about a 10-year-old level, who smokes, drinks, and does drugs. So, and what Frances had told me when she arrived was that we needed to hurry. Her 5 and 7-year-old were with her sister, and we needed to hurry. And she's acting like it's a crime to leave them there with her aunt, honestly, and because she doesn't. They co-sleep with her, they everything with her. So I really think that's kind of what started it. And during that week of the move, I had a companion cat that had been with me since I'd been disabled in 2012 by the government, the federal government, when I stopped working my very high-powered job. Evie, who had gone missing. And when a cat goes missing, Puerto Rico, pretty much. By that, then I figured she was dead. This made Frances very angry, because I considered eating my child. And Frances knew this. And so she was very angry that I was upset, grieving the loss of my 7-year-old companion cat, Evie. A couple weeks before Evie went missing, this kitten showed up, and there's tons of strays here, so I had let this one little baby kitten stay, and I think that's why Evie ran away. But anyway, the 10-week-old kitten was coming on the trip with us. Important note. So my friend is loading the truck. Frances is outside on the phone with someone, getting her riled up. It's all in Spanish, fast Spanish, so I can't pick up any of it. And Stephen has an ear infection. He's loading the truck. I'm in my apartment, getting the boxes taped up by the door. It's about an hour. He leaves. Stephen leaves, goes home. I'm out of the car. At some point, she lets me know that she not only, what does she say? I don't give a shit about your dead cat. I don't give a shit about the kitten you're holding. And I really don't give a shit about you. I'm like, why are you here? I thought you were my friend. And she mumbles something or says something in Spanish, and I really don't. I'm so exhausted. I'm so beat down. I've been working for a week to pack up. I have no muscle from my neck down to like my butt. I mean, I'm exhausted. I've been doing this all by myself. I'm just trying to figure out, like, why is she so mad? Like, we were good friends before this. Why? And she's before that, she's yelling at me repetitively. You're not a victim. You're not a victim. Which I'm not responding to, because I've never cried to her that I'm a victim, or that she knows my history. She knows I've had cancer. Not just those 2 times, but another cancer that I've had a full hysterectomy on in 2002, where I could never have kids. I could never have kids because the chemo and radiation bone marrow transplant made me sterile. But then also on top of that, I had a full hysterectomy, removing my ovaries and estrogen, because I had a blood clot that same year. I could never even take estrogen. Therefore, my bones, again, osteoporosis and arthritis, and she's yelling at me, you're not a victim, you're not a victim. At some point, my landlord walks by, like, almost everything is packed, and I'm like, Elvis, please help me, like, this lady is starting to bother me, and I'm, like, do you know of any moving companies? He won't even look at me. He goes to her car door, and they start speaking in Spanish and are, like, yelling at each other. Not at each other, but about something. It's obviously me. So this is all going back to Kevin, that guy who said I should kill myself, speaks fluent Spanish. The only side of any story that the landlord there has ever received is from the one guy who speaks Spanish, Kevin, the guy who told me I should kill myself. God knows what he's told the landlord about me. I'm crazy. I'm a drug addict. Even though I took Kevin to get his medical marijuana card. Also took Caitlin and Wade, the young lady who told me that I should euthanize. Also, Bing 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 took Frances Vasquez Bravo to get her medical marijuana card. I think it's funny that the 3 people that, like, came at me so hard, calling me names, throwing in their drug addict, I took them all to get their marijuana cards at Leafwell. Their medical marijuana cards. The one I really need, the one that they, I don't know, do they need? I took them to get that. So anyway, interesting note.